Go through that as our practice on consent items. We can go on items 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 13.
Wow.
I just want to know about number 3 in my West LA office, if it's possible.
We'll put number 3 for regular agenda,
Okay.
Mr. Rosenthal. Okay, if we go with 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 13.
Did you want to go into closed session after the open?
You know what, let me do this in that we can find, if we can find out on timing, how many, because I'd like to not hold it more people here than necessary. If there's an inside attorney on item 1, we can maybe do that at the end,
Right.
as opposed to an outside attorney that's on the clock or a bigger clock.
Bernard, you said 3, 7.
Well, you wanted to hold 3.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I want to hold that. So,
So this,
7,
8, 9, 10, 12, and 13, if we can go on consent.
great.
so and I assume you're going to take 4, 5, and 6 together.
Get together, yes.
Right.
So it's really 4, 5, 6, and 11 are the ones that they have to wait for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
And
we
we're gonna
have
do
2, 4, 5,
Go
6
ahead.
is 1, and 11, and I have to be recused on 2, I think. Looking at my city attorney, because I'm a defendant in number 2.
Right.
Okay. All right, so if we can go with that, those items that for consent, and that's agreeable?
Yeah.
Okay.
So moved, yeah.
All right, and also if we can just add one note on item 13 for our clerk. Could you add into the report the issue, I think there's 2 figures that are mentioned in the report. They talk about a $1.15 million loan, and they talk about a $1 million. Just to verify, is it a 1.1 or 1 million? The other issue, if you could let us know in the report as to where that steering committee is on their fundraising, how close are they attaining their $26 million goal? And then the final issue is that if we can also adapt the wording so that if we use June 30th, 2009 as to pay us back for the loan, or sooner if they should meet their guidelines. So if we can have those 3 things, so we'll move those items on consent.
So are they going to report to those before we
Yeah,
get
it
to
should-
council? Or
Yeah, we should have that in the committee report. We ask the clerk to get with the department.
get the information? Because I would be interested in that information as well. Those
Yeah.
are some of the questions I wanted to ask
Yeah.
if we'd had.
So we can add those to the report and get those when it gets to council. So on the item 1, is that a attorney for the city attorney's office, is that outside? In-house. Okay. Well, let's go to our regular agenda item. Let me go with 4, 5, and 6, and then we go to 11, and I'll.
What about 3?
I'm sorry,
3 first.
Okay.
let's go to 3 first. Sorry. 3 first.
Items 4, 5, and 6 are
Let's go to
city...
3 I'm sorry, let's go to 3 first.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and take item number 3. Item number 3 is a GSD report that addresses items 3A, 3B, and 3C on the agenda related to enhanced security at municipal facilities, security at the West LA Municipal Building, and security cameras for parks. Chief Newton from GSD Office of Public Safety is present to answer any questions.
Good afternoon.
How you doing? Let me ask, Mr. Rosenthal had some specific concerns about West LA, and maybe you could
Yes,
ask.
I have 2 offices in my district. One is the Pacific Division, where frankly we had a break-in over the weekend. The police are looking at it, trying to figure that out. And then the other one is the West LA operation. Do you have anything to say about either of those 2 locations in this report?
Yes, we do have a section on the security, the contract security we're providing at the West LA Municipal Building currently.
Talk about it a little bit. We have a guard there now, which I'm very happy. We never had a guard for my first period of time there. And I got to tell you, the West LA office is a dump. It's the worst in the whole city. And it needs a lot of work, but that isn't your responsibility at this very moment. But we had a guard put in, first by the city attorney's office, and now I was told I was paying for the guard there. Who's paying for this contract? How is that being done?
GSD is currently paying the approximately $68,000 a year required to keep that guard at the West LA Municipal Building facility.
And we're okay, everything's good?
In the budget, we had asked for $1 million to bring our contractual services account up to the level of our current expenditures. So in essence, we're spending $1 million more each year than what we're budgeted for. We did receive $500,000 in funding, so we're still $500,000 short.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you. Since we've had the guard there, for my end and my people and everything, it's been a dramatic plus. And, you know, we have a huge issue of homelessness, which is a national issue and a state issue. We better get leadership in Washington that deals with the issue, because I can't do it all at my local level. But half of the bathrooms all the time were homeless people in there. And God bless them, they have no place to go. So I put out some porta potters outside where they hang. But now you can walk around and the building is a lot more presentable. And the guard also have a lot of constituent issues I deal with all the time, is able to give them the visitor thing. I just want to tell you it's great, and I'm very grateful for what you've been able to do on that. And as for the homeless issue, it's obviously bigger, but I do have some public porta potters outside the location, so that, you know, all the scream about closing bathrooms at night, where are these people supposed to go? Which is so outrageous as far as I'm concerned. So I just wanted to thank you for that. What about my Westchester one? Any security there? We just had a break-in over the weekend. Can you look into that?
I can look into that.
Okay, look into that and give us a report back on that. But we want to approve this and move forward with it. But I would like at a later date, if you could either give me a sidebar conversation about what we think we can do or not do in Westchester, I'd be very happy for that.
Certainly, we'll take a look at that.
Thank you so much.
Let me just ask if you give us a general view of, in your upcoming 08-09 budget, where do you see in the sense of your security needs, or have we met them in general, or are you going to be in a shortfall? Also, are there any high priority issues that you are aware of that we should be concerned about as we go into July 1st?
The current critical needs have been met that are related to overtime as needed and contractual services. In addition, we were funded for the new EOC facility and fire dispatch center, as well as a small amount for some additional security enhancements to City Hall. There is one critical need that we will need to address, and we'd like to work with the CAO and CLA on that, and that's the digital video recording system. Ours is out of date and soon will not be compatible with the latest CCTV system that we're using. So we do have a portion of the report that addresses funding needs associated with the new digital recording system.
Now, what do you use that system for?
Digital video recording of all the cameras in the Civic Center area.
Municipal buildings or beyond municipal buildings?
Municipal buildings, which cover all the buildings in the Civic Center, personnel building. They will cover the new EOC facility, Browdy, San Pedro Municipal Building, and a few others.
Now, is that tied to any of your future communication? Is that anywhere close to the interoperability in radios or command centers? Does that come into that discussion, or is this just a standalone need for cameras?
This can be separated out as a standalone need for the digital video recording. The cameras are not impacted. The cameras are fine. The access control is fine. It's actually the recording of those images that's at issue.
Okay, and these are monitored at a stationary location?
Yes, they are.
Okay, all right. You're going to get with the CAO on that as part of a separate discussion, or are you looking to do that is this something that's priority before next year, before the 09-10 budget?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you get with them and discuss that area.
I might suggest that I had talked to the CLA a little bit about this earlier. If we report back, I think a good timeline for us to report back on that issue would be the first FSR of the new fiscal year, which would be in August. That would give us enough time to talk to Mr. Newton and come forward with a plan. Either I think what we're looking at is, Mr. Newton had mentioned to me that there might be some alternative financing available for this equipment, or we can look if MICLA would be, if it would be MICLA eligible as well.
Okay. If you could do that, and that would be in the August report. And then also, would this qualify for any of the, what is it, UASI grants or the
We'll have to look into that as well.
Homeland Security and those kinds of operations also that would not be an impact on the general fund?
Okay.
Let me ask you, do you have any things currently going with communications in the sense of upgrading your current communication system?
Yes, we do. We are currently working with LAPD, really twofold. One is piggybacking on their new computer-aided dispatch system, and we're working with the mayor's office to identify the additional UASI funding necessary for that. And we're also working with LAPD and the mayor's office for additional LAPD-compatible radios.
Yeah. Then we could look at, see if that fits in with the cameras and stuff so that it's all one package. I'd appreciate it. Okay. We'll move that item. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Items 4, 5, and 6 are city treasurers' investment and cash management reports for the months ending January, February, and March of 2008.
Hello, good afternoon. Hal Nachtrieb, Chief Investment Officer.
Yes, could you just walk us through the, what is it, March report, the final one?
Sure,
Just give
absolutely.
us an idea of where we are as relates to our investments and what we could expect as relates to our increase as far as our interests.
Sure. Let me first of all start off with the economy and then go into the current market environment and then talk a little bit about the treasurer's pool, including the general fund. As we know, the economy has been somewhat weak during the past 9 months, and our expectation for 2008 is that we're going to continue to see a very stagnant economy through the end of this year. Our expectation is really only a little bit above 1% GDP growth for 2008. That's in large part due to the fact that the consumer has really been squeezed for the past few months, squeezed from the standpoint that housing values have been falling, the ability to obtain credit has become very difficult, unemployment hasn't fallen, it's likely to actually go up. And that doesn't even mention the increased inflationary environment with very high energy prices as well as food prices. So during this economic environment, we've actually seen interest rates fall, which is an indication of a weaker economy. The short-term rates have fallen over 3% during the course of the fiscal year. Intermediate term rates, as measured by the 5-year note, have fallen a little over 1%. And the way that this has impacted the city's portfolio, including the general fund, is that the securities have actually benefited from a fall in rates by having their prices increase. And so during this time, the general fund has actually increased in value. The treasurer has been recognizing gains on some of the securities held in portfolio, and those gains have translated into increased interest earnings, which directly benefit the general fund. At this point in time, we actually are expecting to have total interest earnings for the general fund through the 07-08 year ending June 30, a little over $40 million, and that's actually up from our original spring of 07 estimates of 36 and 38 million.
Thank you.
So that's 2 to 4 million that we didn't anticipate,
That's right.
and not included as part of our budget projections for next year, so that's...
That's right. That's just the 07-08 expectations.
Hal, if you could, though, we did a revise to that estimate, so we did include that in the mayor's Green Book?
That's right. We've actually revised the estimate since the spring of last year. Our most recent estimate, I believe, is a little over 39 million. And sort of as we stand here today, we're expecting to come in above 40 million. And that doesn't include the trans, 07-08 trans.
You should take my money.
Let me just ask also on the, one thing I was a little confused. We talked last week about the FMIS system that they're developing. In your report, you talk about the new, you have online, the new cash management system. Is this something that being built outside of the current proposal for FMIS for the cash management, or is it part of a larger issue that we're waiting for FMIS?
In regards to FMIS, I'd need to report back to you, or someone from our office would need to report back to you.
All right, 'cause I just wanted to verify, because it shows you have a new cash management system that streamlined a number of systems, and I was trying to figure out, is that something, because we were under the impression that we're waiting for that system to be developed for the overall city, and whether this is just something that impacts Office of Finance.
Right, yeah, with respect to the cash management system and FMIS, I'd need to respond back, and we'll respond back on those issues.
Give us a little information on, I guess you've gone through RFP for your banking institution, and is that, we've selected Wachovia?
Wachovia and Wells Fargo, and the Treasurer's Office is going to actually hold meetings with both Wachovia and Wells Fargo this week.
They've both been selected, or you've narrowed?
They have both been selected for different functions.
Okay, could you give us an idea how many institutions applied, and maybe what was some of the rationale for these two banking institutions to win out?
Well, I personally was not involved in the selection process, but there was a diligent process to review both a number of providers of banking services for the city, and I can say that both with Wells Fargo and Wachovia, they were selected, given the committee that was involved with the selection process collectively agreed that these were the best providers for the city.
Could you get some information to the clerk so that when they write the report, that you can give us information as to how many banking institutions applied for the RFP, and also to highlight what were the significant differences of that created Wachovia and Wells Fargo winning these bids, so we'll have some idea when it comes to council.
Yes, well, I'll get back to you on that matter.
I have just a couple of questions. And when will that affect on the new banking relationship with Wachovia?
I'm sorry?
When will that take effect?
I believe the banking relationships with Wachovia and Wells Fargo will take effect over the course of the next year, but again, I can get you more specific information on that.
And I saw that on the credit payment card compliance, it said that 12 of the 15 have complied. Do you know why the other 3, or who the other 3 are?
I do not, but we can get an answer for you on that as well.
And I guess the other question is, what's the time frame for putting Public Works on the new city's cash management?
That also, I can get an answer for you on that, and when Public Works will come online.
Great, no questions. Thanks, Wendy, for that.
Yes.
Make sure
Public
you
Works
get all those questions, the answers, so that the clerk could put them in by the time it comes to council.
Okay, by council date. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll move those 3 items with the direction for additional information.
Item number 11 was continued from the June 16th Budget and Finance Committee meeting. This item is a report from ITA relative to AT&T UVerse service that is being rolled out in certain areas of Los Angeles.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. William Imperial from ITA.
Mr. Roosevelt had some questions from last time, and we'll have him start off.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My big question is the PEG access, okay? Back in the 90s, I guess, I created Channel 25 and 36, and it wasn't easy to get the cable companies to agree on a common lineup, and then I put the fiber throughout the city and made it happen. And I put it on the analog, so it wasn't like in another tier and wasn't on a Barker on demand, because user-friendly, customer-friendly is key. And the channel placements, where 32 is Fox, and then 34 is MSNBC, 37 is CNN. So it fit perfectly in there. 35 government channel, 36 community channel. now that public access has been wiped out thanks to the manipulation in Sacramento, which infuriates me to let the phone companies come into the business without going through a process, without the accountability of customer service and all the other right things. And a 1% is paltry. It's a nothing. And so 1% was the agreed upon deal. We'll get about $5 million, I guess, out of that 1% once it kicks in. But you can say clearly public access, as I knew it and believed in, is dead. Okay? All right, that's a fact. So now we have Channel 35 and 36. The phone companies are coming into the business. Are they now committed to have a Channel 35 on an analog channel and a Channel 36?
There are two telephone providers in the city now that are offering cable TV services, Verizon and AT&T. With regard to Verizon, Verizon has agreed to comply with placing Channel 35 and 36 on their systems as Channel 35 and 36.
Terrific. In the normal analog channels. So
correct.
people like me, I'm a moron, I just like to do the flip kind of thing. I'll find them. Okay. And AT&T?
AT&T has indicated to us, to ITA, that they will not be carrying 35 and 36 on 35 and 36. It's going to be on Channel 99, and that's for every pig.
Yeah, that's totally unacceptable. City attorneys look into that to see if they have that opportunity by law, or is this something else?
We are looking at it really hard with the city attorney's office right now.
On the Eldridge City Attorney's Office, yes, we are looking at
Pleasure.
that.
Thank you.
We believe that it does not comply with state law to not put 35 and 36 on their proper numbers and the proper tier, because the law says it should have the same number and the same tier as the existing cable operators. We verified, in looking at their system, ITA verified it, that they have a lower tier that has numbers, so it's not all an on-demand system, so they really, in our opinion, don't have a reason to not comply with the law.
And how are you going to stop them?
Well, we're going to work with ITA first to write all the proper letters and notices to get them on record saying that they're not going to do it, or maybe they'll change their minds. And if they don't, then we'll pursue other options at that point that the city has.
And when is their time frame to offer their services to potential customers?
I want to ask William when they're doing that.
It's actually in effect now. They should be complying with the law now. There's a 90-day period that they have in order to allow themselves to work with the incumbent cable operator to interconnect the system. So it's more of a technical issue that we've been working with Time Warner with.
Have they done any marketing yet, banging on doors and getting customers?
Yes.
And they have customers?
It's our understanding that they do, because they are paying us a franchise fee now. It's not a very large franchise fee. It's $1,000.
So the
1%
existing
is
customers,
$100.
how many do we think they have at this point?
Well, if we assume that it's $100 per customer, and if they're offering bundled services at $99, and they're paying us a 1% fee that we're getting, we can only guesstimate that it's somewhere around 200 or 300, if that. But we're not sure, and they don't have any obligation to tell us about
Is
it.
there some way we can get an injunction and shut them down from even having one without having it on 35, 36? They're violating the law.
We'll have to look at all of our litigation options on that. I don't want to rule in or out any option at this point here, but we're going to look at all of the options, and that may be one of them.
Yeah, I want to make it very clear. I want you to tell AT&T right now they're violating the law as the councilman sees it, and that they cannot market it and bring another customer online without having 35 and 36 in place. Now, you're my lawyer. You're going to have to back that up, but I'm outraged to hear them manipulating and gaming the system even worse. I don't care who these people think they are. I want you to be really concerned, and maybe you send a communique or whatever you do, that I want to make it very clear, and I'm not going to take this out of committee to the council until AT&T, and I want them to show up right here at our next budget meeting and explain how they're going to make 35 and 36 happen. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let me just, for my clarification, you're saying that the two companies that are currently providing service is Verizon
Yes.
and
And AT&T.
Okay. Now, Verizon has complied.
Verizon has indicated its willingness to comply. We have been working with Time Warner, who has to do the interconnection, the technical interconnection, and we've had monthly meetings with them. They are now finalizing the contract that will do that. And they've indicated to us all along that they intend to comply, and we have no reason to disbelieve that in any way.
But AT&T has not.
AT&T has indicated they will not comply.
Now, all of this as far as the 5% gross and franchise fees and the 1% PEG, all that is dependent on how many subscribers they get.
Yes.
Right? Is there some idea of a projection of what that could end up being?
No, not at this time.
Not at this time, but it's very small at this time.
Yes, because of the service area that they're in.
Okay. Now, on this item, you want to just hold that in the committee? And
I want to hold it, and I want AT&T to come before us, and I want the city attorney's office to sharpen their strategy and be able to give us a report back on that as well, probably in closed session before the AT&T people speak or somewhere like that.
Let me ask the city attorney, what is your timeline in the sense of going forward in meeting or sending letters out to this company and getting some response back? What do you think is for the time you need?
Well, just speaking just with the basic facts as we have them now, the next step is going to be some very direct letters from the city, from ITA to AT&T, making sort of the, just call it the formal demand, saying this is exactly what we want, and we need a response from you, whether you will or you won't do it, or what your counteroffer is, whatever it's going to be. And from there, we'll know. That is probably on a 60-day time frame, I would say.
Why don't we just hold this in an update in 60 days to see what the status is and if we've heard any response back.
Yeah, and I
But
would
we'll
love-
have the letter to them by 60, they'll get the letter well in advance of that 60-day period.
That's right, Councilman.
I'd like you to verbally let them know, I don't want to see another customer going on without that system in place. They should stop their marketing until they have 35 and 36 in place. I mean, I don't know if I got the power to do it, but I'm just telling you.
We'll do everything we can
Out there-
within the law.
AT&T saying they won't put on?
They won't, no. They want to put it on the
somewhere
Barker 99, and then you have to flip around and find it. Totally unacceptable and not usable for customer-friendly analog channels. That's the whole point of 35 and 36. It's a simple play as you go from CNN, people need that familiarity. We spent a lot of time and money, I did, in providing that leadership for those interconnected channels. And I know what Sacramento did. They totally usurped the power from local franchising authorities, which was totally irresponsible by those electeds up there. And now to see AT&T trying to use its muscle to go on a Barker channel, I'm not going to tolerate it. If I can. I'm not tolerating it.
We'll do what we can within law, Councilmember.
I mean, you can know my feelings. Thank you.
We'll have a demand letter and we'll return this in 60 days.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Parks, would you like us to take the closed session item first, then go back
Closed
into
session,
open?
then I can leave.
Right, we could do that if you,
We have two closed sessions, right?
No, one closed session, and then we have one regular, but I'm recused on.
Oh, I see, great.
all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got, go ahead.
Okay, what is it, November?
No, I'm just looking around.
August 8th.
Himself from this item. I believe this item on number 2, you want to read the item?
Yes, item number 2 is a CAO report relative to a request to reassign the outside attorney conflict panel case of Christopher Wallace versus City of Los Angeles to Foley and Lardner LLP.
My understanding is, so make this quick, is that he just moved to a new law firm. He had the expertise. The law firm wasn't on the list. We need to add the law firm on the list.
Correct.
No financial changes.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have any questions on that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so didn't mean to give you a presentation, but I did read it, so I knew. So that will be the order. Communication. Thank you. Great presentation. Meeting is adjourned, yeah.